Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Just Let Me Touch the Trees. I'm Sarah. Thank you for being with me here again today. And as you can see, I'm not surrounded by trees at the moment. I am on my balcony in Torino. I'm up here because it's the end of our second year in my PhD program, and so I have some things that I need to do and take care of. And I actually have not been feeling really great in the last week, and so I've been at home a lot, and I kept wanting to be outside to do this for you guys and have this episode also be in a spot in nature that I really like in the city here in Torino. But the universe had other ideas. And ironically enough, I was going to do this next episode on timing. And, the first time I set out to go record this, I was back here as well. And I had everything with me. I went and I sat in a place that I like in Piazza Statuto, which is just behind me, walking about 10 minutes. And I had everything with me. And I got sat down to do this and talk to you guys about the importance of timing and how it relates to my life and the struggles that I've had with that. And then I didn't have my little handy dandy mic. So I had this stick that I picked out, which has since traveled with me in my backpack from that place in the park in Torino to Rome, and then also to Egypt, where I just got back from presenting at a conference there. So just a lot of things going on at the moment in my life, and I have really had a challenging few weeks, I guess you could say. Not that they haven't been full of really, really good things, because they have, but there's been a lot of like unexpected things that have happened that I've had to kind of like readjust and recenter and try again. And sometimes I do better than other other times. Um, but that is also means that I'm human, right? We all are never going to be our best every day, right? That's not really how it works. And I think that um, it wasn't the right time to do this episode on timing. Haha, universe, I understand. And instead, because of all the things that have been happening in my life, I started to do some really deep reflection, because some of these challenges have been similar challenges that I've had in the past. And, I really want to address these kinds of things when they come up in my life, because I'm really devoted to growth as a person, being a better version of myself, and making those adjustments, so that maybe, they say that nothing changes until if nothing changes, if nothing changes. And so we have to make different decisions in order to have different outcomes. And I was just reflecting on this period of time in my life. So end of September, October into October, we're October 18th today. And I was just thinking, reflecting on this time last year in my life, where, um, I had this, I was working in my dream job in a dream location. I was sitting on the terrace of my apartment in the peninsula, because I just arrived to the peninsula, and I was just really enjoying this moment, and I had this thought um, that night, where it was like, I had recently just started dating someone as well, and they were like, if you could pick out a list of things that you were looking for in a partner, he had all of them. Like, it was like I dreamed this person into life, honestly. And so, like, I was sitting on my terrace, and I was like, man, I'm exactly where I want to be. I have a work that I've been dreaming about doing, and I have a relationship that seems to be going in the right direction with the quality of person that I have been looking for. And it was like I had this realization, like, holy shit, I got everything I wanted. And I had been visualizing and manifesting for months and months and months, so hard and so dedicated, that like I arrived at this moment in this realization, and I was like, oh my God, I got everything I wanted. And then I wobbled. I wobbled because it was like, oh my God, now what? Now what do I do? Um, and so on top of that particular October, I started thinking about, you know, this period of time in my life all the way back to 5 years ago in 2020. And I have these um, moments that I tend to get a lot of the things that I want, and then suddenly I wobble. And what does that wobble mean? Like, what is it that is making me question all of this goodness that has come into my life? And I've been really thinking about that a lot lately, about what that means for my own worthiness, what might be some incorrect beliefs about myself that I'm still carrying around. Um, and it's really hard to believe that we're already in mid-October, well into the autumn season of this year. And it's like, it always feels like, the summer flies so fast and it's so fleeting. And really, actually, it is, though, because if we think about the way that seasons of life work, and the seasons and cycles of um, different things in Mother Nature. For example, the summer is the blooming point, right? And the blooming point for a flower is very short and brilliant and fleeting, right? It's very much meant to be this great show, but it doesn't ever last very long. And that's okay, because that's part of the process, right? So in our summer, sometimes it feels like it flies, and it's just this really beautiful peak moment, and it can be. And then sometimes we have this resistance to release the petals, right? When we get into the fall season, so we pull back, and we don't want to um, shed these old skins that we have in order to prepare ourselves for the winter, where we rest and recuperate so we can bloom again, bigger and better than before. um, so it's bittersweet, isn't it, the end of the blooming in the summertime? um, but that's the point, right? And that's what we do in the autumn, is that we release the petals, or we let the leaves fall like they do from the trees. And that creates a nice little cozy sweater on the foundation, on the ground, of our lives, so we can really kind of figure out where we need to do the work, what needs to happen in order for us to be better versions of ourselves when it's time for the spring to come, and us to start to grow and bloom again, to get ready for that brilliant, fleeting summer. Um, so, this season, for me, um, I think that I've resisted releasing in certain areas of my life that um, have still held on to some really old identities that I didn't realize that I was still, like, clutching on to. Um, and so when I was doing this reflection on the last 5 Octobers of my life, um, I there's this one common theme for me, and it's because in each of these moments in the autumn, so between September and October, I've been at this point in my life where I could make these decisions for what I really want from my life, what makes me really bloom inside in the summertime. um, and There have been moments where I decided to do something for someone else instead of myself. Um, there have been also moments where I have decided to do what I feel is best for myself, and then I wobbled, and then I doubted, right? I let fear and doubt creep in. Um, that would start to, question in the back of my mind, do I really deserve this? Is this life that I'm creating, that I've really deeply desired for myself, can I have it? Is it something I'm allowed to have? And this year I've really been doing some intentional work on the fact that yes, of course, I am allowed to have this life that I desire, that I have dreamed about, that I have envisioned, that I have been manifesting for a very long time. I'm allowed to have it. And it doesn't matter if when I talk about it, it seems really, really weird and out there and unrealistic for other people in my life, because it's not their life to live, right? And the same goes for you. You should be making decisions for your life, releasing any of those leaves, any of those petals that don't serve you anymore, for the person that you're going to become in this next spring, in this next cycle of life. Um, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to do that, and you are worthy of that too. And um, that's really the main point of this episode, is that when we release, we make space. When we release, we make space for healing, for rest, which is also very important, as I've learned this week, and for growth, right? So we can stop doubting that we deserve the things that we've envisioned, that we've talked about, that we've dreamed about, that we've really, really dug into. And I'm going to leave you with a tool. I like to leave you with a little bit of something that you can utilize. If you're a big music person like I am, Um, I like a playlist called Release the Petals by Rebecca Campbell. She's someone that I follow and utilize her meditations and things like that. So I will link that in the comments for you to find on Spotify. But if anything else, too, just finding a frequency of sound that is about releasing negative energy and fear and doubt, you can find those too. And I just like to sit and listen sometimes to those frequencies, and just be mindful of the thoughts that I have about for about 5 to 10 minutes at a time, as needed. Um, but then also just be really intentional with speaking, how I speak to myself, right? So we'll get to the timing episode, I'm sure, because that's also very relevant in things. But for now, that's where I'm going to leave you. Um, you are perfectly deserving exactly of the life that you have envisioned for yourself, um, what that means for you. And it is perfectly okay to release whatever doesn't belong in that life for you. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you guys enjoy what I have to say. If you guys have any topics that you would like to cover, let me know in the comments below, and subscribe to the podcast is on YouTube and Spotify. Those are linked as well. And then my socials um, for Instagram are also there, and Facebook are also below. So that's it. That's all I have for episode 2. Um, I am probably going to go back inside because it's a bit chilly and I still am not fully 100%, but I really wanted to talk to you guys. So I will try to be back as soon as I can. Um, I want to have a sip. I will try to be back as soon as I can with another little chat with you guys. Thanks so much for being here, my little pack of wild ones. Um, being wildly rebellious and seeking joy in this life, I think, is something that's underrated. And I really am so glad and happy that you're here to do that with me. Okay. I love you, and I will see you soon.